Recording. Hello.
Hello, Dave.
Everyone.
Welcome to How It Is with
Welcome to the How It Is podcast. Sorry, we're both very excited for our first ever episode.
yeah, the one true episode, the one that's really going to tell us enough about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
Fran. Exactly.
mostly, and
Yeah.
and how we're going to be capable of spreading our love throughout the world.
Oh, yeah. Grant. Right. Right. Just so that you know, there is a warning. Profanities will happen on this podcast because the two of us like to curse a lot.
Yeah,
Uh, today, topic is, Fran,
anthropology.
anthropology, the study of humans. The study of
Yes,
everything that is human, everything that could ever be and ever has been human.
the goddamn human
Oh,
condition. How we
exactly.
are. How every one of us is.
Exactly. So,
You know.
without further ado, Fran, you know more about this than I do. So, off you go. Tell me about anthropology. Tell the listeners about anthropology.
So
What is it?
anthropology, basically, right, with an overview of what it is. It's the understanding of how human culture affects the neural pathways people in people's minds decide to take under based on their surroundings, and how then that defines the lifestyles they lead and what they can definitively understand throughout their lifetime. That was actually my complete definition, which I read currently, well, because I could not remember exactly word for word what it was. But yeah, so anthropology is basically it's the study of the human condition and how different cultures and traditions and our lifestyles affects the way we actually think on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it shows that there can be a significant divide worldwide, not based on hate, but just you know a lack of understanding of somebody else.
That's a really good. Yeah, that's really interesting because, like, I only have a very basic understanding of anthropology as a whole, and I think anthropology is something that it's really important in the world because obviously everything going on at the moment, the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything, anthropology comes into that as well because it's from a cultural side of things. It's looking at how people are, like why people are racist and why people have these thoughts rather than they just have these thoughts.
Exactly, yeah, and it can come from it comes from all sides because as much to say people have been actually built up in an environment that isn't native to their blood. Like a lot of these things can be cultural because it's actually in their bloodlines, so they feel like they have this, almost it's like a soul gate to the rest of the world and back to their to their origins. So an awful lot of people now are starting to really look at where they've actually came from. But not all of us can find out truly where we've came from. Due to a lack of information that we can actually give to like an ancestry DNA test, and like histories and things that have been lost along the way, and it's really a struggle to know where we all came from. But uh, we all came from one place. We all live in one place, and we must share this one place as a whole. We we
Exactly.
are we are the world, Dave.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, there is only. I mean, I said it in my own video the other day. Is there is only the human race.
Yeah,
That's there is like there's no point in us looking. And I know people will get their back up on this because it's the black lives do matter. I'm not saying that they don't, and I'm not disagreeing with the movement or anything like that. But we are all one race. We're all a human race. So the ethnicity of blacks and whites and Asians, whatever, it's completely like that. That's they're the different parts of our race, rather than us having several different races within our race. So it's the ethnicity rather than the race.
yeah,
And it's just a cultural thing. That's all it is. It's just literally racism is a cultural difference between people that won't listen and won't learn about other people's cultures. And
And like that's exactly it. Because I mean, if we actually were to look back, like thousands or hundreds and thousands of years, right? Not hundreds of thousands of years, but hundreds and thousands of years,
yeah,
we'd probably find that in our bloodline, where we came from might actually be of somewhat of a
yeah,
descent from certain other places
yeah,
and around the world. That was so we might actually, not even know part of our own history, and we're just bet into a place where we're living, and we have to accept that as our culture,
yeah,
even
exactly.
though there might be a lot more to us than meets the eye.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's something I've always thought of, and like I'm not very patriotic. I'm patriotic when it comes to sports. Don't really look at. I don't
That's another cultural thing. Yes.
exactly, but I'm not really. I don't look at it as a. I'm Irish and I have to be Irish and I have to follow everything Irish and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I love Irish football. I love the Irish football and rugby teams. I love the cricket team. I love sports teams from Ireland that are out there. They're doing the job for the country. Whereas I didn't choose to be born here. Just like I'm going to get a bit political here. George Floyd didn't choose to be black. He was
Yeah.
born into that. So it's not. I was going to say it's not his fault, but it's not. There's no fault in being of a certain ethnicity, but he
No.
didn't decide to be that. So where do people get off saying, "How dare you be a certain ethnicity"? Nobody decided on their ethnicity.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's again like it just comes from and I don't want to get very political on this. I want it to be a laugh. But yeah, like people just refuse to look at it at a point of view of I didn't choose to be that. I mean,
Yeah.
like nobody chose where they were going to be born. That was down to their parents, which was down to their grandparents, which was down to their great grandparents, based on circumstances that have happened in the lives of these people. So, my mom and dad lived in England in the 80s. I easily could have been born in England. I could have been born as a Brit. I could have been brought up as a Brit, and I could have very easily been supporting England at the Euros next year.
Yeah. And we mightn't
That's
have been on this call now today.
exactly.
You know.
We wouldn't have met in college. That's
No.
like
Where we met, Dave. The
exactly.
biggest
So,
asshole in the world over here
but that's
was that's how it was. That's how it was for us in college.
yeah.
I didn't I had a completely different image of Dave when I met him for the first time,
I know it's the
and
same with you with yourself. Yeah,
that completely changed, and we've just melded together over
yeah,
that period of time,
exactly. Yeah, like
and we understand each other now. See, that's coming
yeah,
back to
we've listened to each
understanding
other's
people.
culture. We had differences. There's not a lot you could say is similar about myself and yourself, Fran. I mean, we share a love of Tenacious D. We share a love of various different types of music,
Yeah,
and we share a place where we were born, which is Ireland. And other than that, there's
exactly.
not really much else that we have in common. But we're
No,
willing to listen to each other's opinions. We're willing to look at culture and understand the anthropology behind where we came from.
exactly, and that's what's happening, and it stems down to like people, really it has to. It's a mindful thing that people need to realize that you need to take care of yourself, and you need to understand that if you don't try to understand other people and where they came from, then that's where dislikes and separations come into place.
Exactly.
Because if somebody does not want to know, yeah, okay, maybe they don't want to know, but you have to understand that they probably just don't want to know as well.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
just leave them. I mean, we've always said it as a nation, right, of Irish people right here. A general saying over here would be each and everybody to their own.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's for some people it's like if we just left everything alone in the first place, none of this shit would have happened.
Exactly. This is exactly it. That's that's the issue, the biggest issue in the world. And yes, racism is a huge issue in the world right now. it's been an issue for centuries. The
Yeah.
biggest issue is nobody wants to listen to someone else about their opinion or their culture. People
Yeah.
literally, all we want to do is just let everyone know what we think, rather than, oh, actually, hang on, what does he think? What does she think? What do they think? And we have an issue in this world where people are so unaccepting of topics, of cultures, of people, of race and ethnicity and breed, that they won't listen to them, and then it breeds hatred. Because if you don't listen to me over and over again every time I tell you something, I'm going to grow to hate you, and that's hate's going to grow, and then it'll turn into, well, he's not willing to listen to me, so I'm not going to listen to anything that he has to say. He might have a lot of good points to say, and again, that's where the hatred breeds. Is then I won't listen to him. He won't like that. He'll get annoyed, and then he'll start to hate me, and then he'll go off and tell people, "Oh, well, he's a dickhead." I'll go off and tell
Yeah.
people, "Oh, he's a wanker." So then that'll breed hate, because people who listen to me will take my opinion on the matter and say, "Oh, well, he must be a wanker if Dave says he's a wanker. He might be a
Yeah.
lovely
Yeah.
guy." So that's the
Yeah. To
problem with the
somebody
world.
that understands him. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's all about listening. It's all about understanding people's point of view. And the problem with the world at the moment is nobody wants to listen.
Yeah. And that's it. And
That's my
regardless,
understanding of it anyway. You know, I could be wrong. I could be, you know, I'm interested to hear your own thoughts about it. I understand I'm after waffling on for about 5 minutes about that.
no, 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 no. I actually no. I just wanted. I was cutting across here. I just wanted to kind of weigh in and say, well, like, I mean, that's completely right, because people aren't listening to each other, and that's the point of this whole movement that is happening worldwide. It's actually happening worldwide, but
Yeah.
there's different parts of it happening worldwide, because
Yeah.
that's where people are now using the hatefulness, right? Because,
Yeah.
oh, you don't understand my culture, and they're spreading a hate into people's hearts, because they think, oh yeah, this is the way we actually view it. So the they're viewing the they're viewing the situation as an attack on them, um, and that they should, attack people now. But it's not. It shouldn't be like that, because that's just going to make it so much worse than what it already is,
Yeah.
and it's never going to change if people continue to do stupid things.
This is it. And again, actions can speak louder than words. Again, you know, like violent acts towards people will show more racism than calling someone the N word.
Yeah,
Whereas, um, you know, actions do speak louder than words, and that's if, like, for example, the march that happened in the US recently, the march happened here in Dublin recently, the march happened in London, really showed a great support. And I completely understand. I disagreed with the whole organisation of the march, with everything going on with COVID-19, but I understand why it was important to have it. And at the
yeah,
same time, there was, like, you know, people were there. There was a lot of white people there. There was a lot of Asian people there. There was a lot of trans people there who were standing with people who don't actually get a lot of support from the authorities in the white supremacists world.
yeah. Exactly, yeah. But that's another thing. That's how these people were brought up to view the world.
Yeah,
That was this whole supremacist thing, and it works for all nations.
yeah,
There's almost like there's worldwide national supremacy.
yeah,
So, like, people that are from their own countries will have other nationalists and supremacists that just hate everybody else just for the sake of hating them.
yeah,
Like, they've no
exactly.
real reason, because they haven't even, say, these people mightn't have even left their country to go and travel
Yeah,
and experience another person's culture and nation, and what they can bring to the table. So, um, if people aren't able to, you know, correspond with each other in a good way, then how will anything change?
yeah, exactly.
So,
How?
and it was like the march in LA, where there was like 50, I think it was something like 50,000 people or something
Yeah.
gathered together, and it was a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
And there was everyone just walked in solidarity, and they stood there, and they rested, and they just took it as, this is what we want. See
Yeah.
us now. This is what we want. We do not want fire and brimstone. We want love and peace.
Peace and love. Yeah. Hippie
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, hippie
So
shit. Yeah,
they had it right. They had it right.
they had it right the whole time. It
Peace
goes
and
back
love.
to
Yeah.
the don't drop bombs, drop acid is what they were saying back in the 70s.
I wouldn't be
And
doing that. But
no,
yeah.
no, no, no. No, obviously not. No, I'm just
No.
saying that's what they had
Yeah.
on powers of
Yeah.
Woodstock, and these
Exactly. Yeah.
people, they knew it. They were well
Yeah.
ahead of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. They understood that we needed to change things and that like things were wrong. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring it back to football for a second, just on peaceful protests. Is a couple of years ago there was a peaceful protest at a League of Ireland match about the FAI and how they were doing
yeah,
the league, and the Garda threw people out of the stadium. Now there was no violence, there was no profanities. They just had signs up saying, "We want change. We want John Delaney out. We want the FAI gone. We want to restructure Irish football," and they were kicked out. And then that again, bringing it back to breeding hate, breeds hate towards the authorities, because
yeah,
they're then abusing their power. They're kicking people out when they weren't trying to cause physical damage. They were just looking to get a point across. And
exactly.
you see a lot when a peaceful protest is happening in the world. A lot of the time, it's not accepted by the authorities. They'll say, "Well, I'm in charge, so go fuck yourself," kind of thing. Excuse the
Yeah,
language again. And that's the problem. Like that's people not wanting to listen, and then that then breeds hatred, and then it's a vicious cycle. Like everything goes around in that circle of, you're not listening to me, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to go tell everyone that you're a wanker. That person's, you're not listening to me, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to go tell everyone you're a wanker, and then this a divide. Then it
yeah.
gets all the way around to the point of someone that these two people don't even know are around here, and they're like, "Oh, he's a wanker, she's a wanker. I'm not going to listen to anything that they say."
So would that mean that you'd agree with like multiculturalism?
Yeah, yeah,
Because if more of us are brought up around, you know, all everybody's culture,
yeah,
um, we'll be able to actually visualize it. But one thing that I do notice is that some cultures, or people that have came into different countries, are actually just living there uh, under that culture,
yeah,
without being able to express their own,
yeah,
and are not even without being able to, but just haven't actually set up like a part about their culture that will include people that have not been a part of that culture. It starts to become like almost a secular environment where um they just want, oh, this is our culture, and we only want people from our culture in here.
yeah,
And that's another thing as well, like you know well, if you want your culture to be accepted in another country,
yeah,
uh, should you not accept other people to even just try and witness and
yeah.
understand your
Learn it.
culture
Yeah,
as a
learn about it.
whole?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely agree. Like, talk about multiculturalism. Yourself and myself experienced when we were in college, because
Yeah,
obviously, for people that don't know, we went to college in Blanchardstown
yeah.
IT, Blanchardstown is the biggest multiculturalist area in Ireland, and the college itself is an extension of that. There's a lot of different cultures there. There's a lot of Africans, a lot of Eastern Europeans, a lot of Americans, a lot of Asians, and a lot of Irish.
Come on, ITB.
Yeah, what a place! But like,
Yeah,
there was. I remember myself and one of the lads, AJ. We
yeah.
had a project for our course, which was diversity for business, and we had a project to do, and it was a poster for any company in the world, any organization in the world. It could have been absolutely anything. We had to make
Yeah.
a poster about diversity in the workplace. So what we did was we rallied up everybody from the common room, which is where we spend most of our days,
Yeah.
and we got a picture with everybody. And I think there was 27 people in the picture, 19 different nationalities, and then on top of that, I think there must have been about 40 between their parents alone. So 40 different nationalities across parents, and 19 out of 27 people had different nationalities all over, like in that one room.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
It's a
a
lot of
lot of
culture.
people.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
culture.
that's a
It's a
lot
lot
of
of,
culture.
and there
It's
was
very
never,
diverse.
there was never, there was never a war of cultures in there, because
No.
we all understood that, oh, they just have a different way of thinking. They have a different,
Yeah.
like, and that again, I growing up, I wasn't the most accepting of other people's cultures, because I went to a Catholic school, and there was only one black kid in the whole school, and
Oh no.
I didn't know anything about other cultures.
Yeah.
The first time I ever hung around a black guy, I was 16.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
didn't
like
understand.
probably similar to myself, but I think it was more so when I started venturing out of
Yeah,
school, because
yeah,
I went to a Christian brother school, so like yourself,
yeah,
and it wasn't like multi denominational, so you had to be under a Christian ethos.
yeah,
You had to, and over here as well, you have to be. But in order to go to primary school, in a standard school over here, you have to be baptized under
yeah.
Catholicism.
Well, they've
So
gotten rid of that now in the last few years, I think, as far as I know.
yeah, no, they have, but
Yeah,
that's
back then,
you
yeah,
had to do that, yeah. But
yeah,
there's these educate together schools
yeah.
where
They're a lot better.
over here, and they're a lot better because they're shown that the, there is diversity in Ireland, and
And there's
we
acceptance.
can't, yeah, and we can't have this as like a separation, we can't have this because why they all should be, they need to slowly start changing them as much as people over here are getting upset as well because they think, you know, with all these different cultures coming into our country, people are actually living in fear almost because they're only seeing um, a certain number of events occurring from certain areas. But it's because one person. All it takes, and it goes back to what I was saying. All it takes is one person to gather a group of people, and especially like when people are young, they feel like they need to be involved in certain things in order to feel accepted. And it's scary because people are given into peer pressure, and
Yeah,
not all these kids that are involved in these situations are actually like that. They just
yeah,
are with the people that end up doing these things. And as much to say they can show themselves that it's not good for them.
yeah,
Uh, it, they they're just falling into a trap, really. And it's not everybody,
yeah,
but people will the more people start to see these things, the more it kind of starts to heat up. And so really that's just going again to information technology and how that can spread violence, and it can
yeah.
spread hate. And
But
it is really, it's a sickening thing.
yeah, can I come in there, Fran? Actually, just
Yeah,
on
yeah,
information
yeah,
technology breeding violence, it can also breed peace in
yeah,
another sense. Like if it's used properly, it can be used really well, like really fucking well. Like I'm seeing so many. Like there's a lad from Ballymun who raised, I think it was 13, 14 grand for St. Pat's Athletic, just
yeah.
from using social media as an outlet to raise awareness for the event he was running, which was he walked 200k in 4 days. Um,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fair play to the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he did 50K a day for 4 days straight, and he raised, I think, I'm not 100% sure on the figure, but I think it was about 14 grand. But he used social media for that.
Yeah,
Other ways, like the Black Lives Matter movement has been plastered all over social media. Um, I haven't gone onto Twitter once in the last 2 weeks without seeing something about Black Lives Matter. It's also brought awareness to a lot of things out there that I wouldn't have known about. I mean, you know my love for Ninja Sex Party. The lead singer Dan Avidan has his Charity
yeah,
Saturday thing. He raises awareness for a lot of different charities using social media. They it's a great way to raise awareness for great things, but it's also a great way to raise awareness for bad things. So the problem is people aren't using it correctly, whereas other people are. The reason it's such a useful tool is it helps keep in contact with people. Let's be honest here. Like
yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do this recording without social media
No,
because we wouldn't
no,
know
you wouldn't have
anything.
found out about NSP only for that.
Exactly, and that's anthropology again. It's the cultural thing. You're listening to my
Yeah,
music. You're listening to my style of music. You're listening to my, and I listen to your style of music, and we have this mutual love of various different bands.
yeah,
So that's again, it's just listening to other people and learning about their opinions on things, and it
yeah.
makes such a huge difference.
Because that's how, because it changes the way your neurons work in your brain and what messages they're actually sending to your brain.
Exactly.
Um, so like what you visualize throughout the day, starts to become serial.
Yeah.
So the more you see of something, the more recognizable it becomes, and then the more often that you actually want to enjoy, so either seeing something of the same stature, and it's it's really it takes an effect on all of us, and it's where if multiple people, if everybody kind of sees everything as a whole rather than as a divided kind of, it can be sections of itself, but if it's not, if we're not dividing it, if we're not making it a division, it won't be a division.
Yeah.
Like if I can go into your kitchen and eat your bananas, like you
Better
know
fucking not.
you know, if you let me in the door to eat a banana in your house,
Yeah.
fair enough. Or if come in and have breakfast, and this is the type of breakfast that I eat. This is my dinner.
Yeah.
These are the pillows I use to sleep on at night. These are my bed sheets. I
Yeah.
don't have any
Okay.
cutlery. I just
Yeah.
use. I don't have any chairs. Why do you not have chairs? I just use lilos to sleep on with. Like a little
Yeah.
pillow because it's
I
better
prefer
for
to
my
sleep.
posture.
Yeah, I prefer to
You
sleep on
know.
the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, and again, like I've never been to Japan. I've never been
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah. That
America,
was it.
but they have different, like, such different cultures. From what I understand, is like the Japanese will sit on the floor or on a cushion on the floor while they eat, rather than sitting on a chair.
Yeah, I think they do that in I'm not sure now, but I think they do that in India as well.
Yeah,
Where they'll just sit around, they'll sit on their knees, like
yeah,
around, while they're having, you know, eating, and in Africa as well, an awful lot of the time they eat with their hands
yeah. Rather than
rather
using
than
cutlery. Yeah,
cutlery, yeah, and
yeah,
because it's actually the food that they're eating, like you don't need cutlery.
no.
That's what I
For a lot
what
of food, you don't. Yeah,
for a lot of food you don't, like mashed potato, anything that we've added liquids to, become difficult to eat without. But I mean, I could use, like,
yeah,
if I wanted to eat like sweet potato and like mushy vegetables, I could get like a bit of pita bread and scoop it up into the pita bread and eat it that way.
yeah. Exactly. Cutlery is a pointless thing. Well, I mean, it's not pointless because some people prefer to eat with cutlery, but
Yeah.
for me, I use it for certain things, but again, I don't really see the point in it when I'm using, like, when I'm having a chipper, like a snack box,
Yeah.
pick up the piece of chicken and eat it. I can pick up
Yeah.
the chips with my hands. When I'm having
So
a curry,
barbaric.
when I'm having a curry, I don't like the feeling of curry sauce in my hands, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
it'll burn my hands.
Yeah.
So I'll use cutlery for that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
same with soup. Soup's a liquid. I need a spoon, or I can pick the bowl up and just pour it into my mouth through the bowl. But
Yeah.
again, the bowl is really hot, so I'm gonna try not to not to touch it. So again, it's just a matter of personal preference. But as you said, in Africa they use their hands in a lot of places, and I'm sure that, not just in Africa. I'm sure it's in other places as well. Like, I'm sure they do it in other countries.
They
Where
do. No, I was just saying that's
yeah, it's an
and
example.
it's
Yeah,
probably not everywhere in Africa
yeah,
either. It's just certain places that I
yeah,
knew that I was actually told that's
yeah, yeah,
how they like to enjoy their food.
yeah.
Because they just
Texture is
like
a
to.
texture is a huge part of eating food. It's for me
Yeah,
anyway. I love strawberry juice. I love the taste of strawberries, but I don't like eating strawberries because I don't like the texture of a strawberry. And it's the
like
same.
same with myself and
Yeah,
apples. Like I
yeah,
can drink apple juice perfectly fine. I love the taste of
yeah,
apple juice,
yeah,
but I can't physically eat an apple because I feel like it's going to rip my gums apart
yeah.
while I eat it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, personally, I cut them up to make it a bit easier to eat. But like when I do just have an apple in my hand and I eat it that way, it does kind of rip into my gums. Um, so again, it's about personal preference. That's
Yeah,
all it is, and I'm not gonna turn around and call you a fucking weirdo because you won't eat an apple. Like, it's
yeah. I've also had many bad experiences biting into like gone off apples, and
uh
I've bitten it. Yeah, like they look perfectly fine and so beautifully shiny and delicious, and then and then you bite in and it's just all soft and degraded. And
yeah,
yeah, I've had my bad experiences, and that's it's the fear of coming in contact with
yeah.
an injured apple again. Is,
Yeah, not for me. No, it wouldn't be me. I'd probably get sick. Oh God, yeah, no, no.
I did. That's I have.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, but yeah, and like it's pretty hard. I'm trying to come in right to come back to how it all kind of melds into this anthropological insight that we
Yeah,
have, and
yeah,
I've been talking on it, but it's a topic that I'm going to continue to become knowledgeable about.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's no limit on this. I mean, we're not doing this for money. We're just doing this for fun. So we
yeah,
could literally just record another episode down the line when you know more about it, when I know more about it, and we do a full
yeah.
study on it.
I mean, we
This,
literally have we've a couple of days, and
yeah,
I'm really coming into but it's amazing like how something so small and can just change your day. So why wouldn't something similar change your entire outlook on life?
yeah,
You know,
exactly, exactly.
so
That's the thing. Like, people won't listen. People, like, so some people will. Again, I'm not throwing everybody under the bus here, but there are some people that just won't listen, and that's,
no,
again, you just got to respect their culture. As far as I'm concerned, as long as they're not harming anybody, let them do what they want. But again, if they are causing harm to people, physical or emotional, then they have to stop. You have to
yeah,
just allow other people to live their lives as well, as far as I'm concerned.
exactly.
And I mean, is there anything else you want to say on it, or will we finish the first ever episode of how it is?
I think I'm pretty happy to finish it there because
Yeah,
it's a very it's a quite an emotional topic actually.
yeah, but it's
And
it's a
with the
fun topic. It's a fun topic. It's something that you can. Are you still there? I think you're gone, Fran. You're after disappearing on me, Fran. Hang on.
out there,
Oh, there,
I'm
no,
going.
you froze there, Fran, for about 40 seconds, I'd say.
Why is it? Why is it we've now, coming towards the end.
I don't
Okay, we're
know.
back.
We're
Yeah,
back. We're back.
but it is. It's a very emotional topic, and that's why I do want to do more research on it as well, because
Yeah.
while I was reading about it, it was giving me a twinkle in my eye, and it was really warming my heart to see that that like, if people actually understood anthropology a little bit more, we'd probably understand ourselves and
Yeah.
and everyone else a little bit more. It is a really in depth topic, and it's almost beautiful to the
Yeah.
point of
Yeah.
that. You know, I didn't realize myself, looking it up, um, of how important it should be, and I think it should be taught from a very young age,
Yeah.
that there is, like, so many different that there's so many different cultures,
Yeah.
and there's so many things across the world going on, and it should all be shown, in a light where, it's obviously sensitive to
Yeah.
younger people, but like, because that's where hate starts to build, is when people are young. Like, that's why,
Yeah.
you know that's why people use these, like, propaganda machines to really get a different message out, and comes to, like, radicalization of people's thoughts. So when people are born into certain situations where they actually can't they have no control, over what's going to happen, because they're so young. So how can a kid get away from a
Yeah.
certain way of thinking, if they're completely trapped, and there's no way out? And that's like, in North Korea, where all these re- people, and
Closed off. Yeah.
they're closed off from society. They're not even allowed a normal they're not even allowed a normal life at all. They're not living a normal life, and that's like, even Kim Jong Un now has stopped communications with South Korea, because they're they're trying to basically help, and excommunicate Kim Jong Un,
Yeah.
because causing so much problems for his own people. Like, and it's a commendation to the South Korean Prime Minister, that he's actually doing this because he wants it for the people. And I've been looking about, and South Korea, the the Prime Minister of South Korea he's a brilliant man, actually, and he's doing a lot for his people. You know, there is genuine politicians across the world. There's also assholes, and
Yeah.
that's another thing. They're using their platform to spread their views,
Yeah.
and but their views, for their selfish views, or their greedy views, and there's also people that are in government that have little to no empathy, and they can't even sympathize with their own people
Yeah.
about certain situations, because they just genuinely just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't. And sorry, now see, that this is where a view of my mind comes in, where you know I've been brought up to love anything that doesn't hate me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear it. Like, it's the whole thing with the Koreas and politics in general. Obviously, I can't discuss Irish politics due to my job, but like the whole idea behind politics, I think it's something that we could fill a full episode with. We could really
Yeah,
just talk about world politics and the differences between various different cultures and politics. But again, like looking at North Korea, it's a cultural thing as well. Like they just, I mean, if they want to leave, they should be allowed to leave.
Yeah,
But they, like, if they want to stay, then there shouldn't be an issue with them
yeah.
whatnot, like not being allowed to leave. So that's the way I'd look at it from that point of view. But yeah, I mean, I think we've been recording for over half an hour now.
I know.
It's a lot. It didn't feel like that. That was about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I
But
didn't feel like that. I thought, yeah, it
yeah,
definitely felt a lot shorter.
yeah.
I
That's
think it actually felt like it was going to go on a bit at the
yeah,
start, and I
yeah.
think as we got into it, then
I
it
think we talked about a lot of really good topics there, and a lot of really good points made by both of us. So
yeah.
yeah. So do you have any closing statements?
I mean, love the fucking world, right? Love each other, god damn it, right? Look at us, look at us too, even
Look
love
at
us, even just love us for you know. But
yeah,
love, like people. Well, I'm going to say one thing, and it's that everyone just needs to enjoy and try and understand each other's cultures and really accept each other. Stop trying to fight stop trying to fight the past, because the past didn't fight for you. It's okay. Okay, they did. Some of them did. But you.
I can hear the people that support like what happened in 1916 just coming for you
Yeah.
right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I'm. Yeah, okay. Right. Well, what I meant was that we need to stop looking at what happened in the past and look at us now. Like, look at the fucking turmoil that
Yeah,
is that the
exactly.
world is in, and just say the reason this is happening is because nobody is accepting each other, and now everyone's claiming the past to be this. That comes back to your point, Dave, where we didn't
Choose
think
it. Yeah, we
that
didn't choose it.
our souls did not choose to be
Yeah,
in this position.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
We didn't be burnt, right?
Yeah,
Right out into we weren't born into the world, right? Full of hate. We were born full of love, and that's it.
yeah.
And people will
We were
say
born
love
from love.
is we were born from love. Yeah, well,
Well, it depends on the people,
no, well, they love each other now. They no matter what, whether you were born in or out of love, they love you.
yeah,
We should continue to view the world through the eyes of a child. Patsy
yeah.
Cline shit. If anybody doesn't know, where I got to.
I don't know.
No, she's very, very old, very old.
Um,
Well, not very old, but she's older than us.
you're only
Let's be honest.
I was about to say like you're only like 4 months older than me, like. But yeah, like just my own sense of things is any Irish people out there. I mean, I'm sure for this first episode they'll will all be Irish because who's gonna just randomly stumble across a podcast with two Irish fellas without us sharing it to our friends?
Yeah.
Look
You
at
never know.
the hatred towards the Brits and the English. The people over there now didn't take our country back in the whenever it was, the 1700s or whatever, and they weren't involved in 1916 or 1921. So just show they aren't the ones that did it. They
100 years from now, you're not going to be here,
exactly.
right?
So what's the point in hatred? What?
Yeah.
No, nobody's going to look back and think, Jesus, what a lovely fella he was that called the Brits all cunts. Excuse the
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll try and bleep that out in the edit, but
we'll see.
see if I know
We're
how.
definitely, yeah. No, like I mean, but in 100 years from now, there's going to be somebody else who might, stumble upon something and say, "Hey, look at these two guys. Look what they were trying to do." Yes, we do. We want to change the world with the little voices that we have. Like, we want to make everyone realize that if if I could eat your breakfast and you could eat mine, that maybe we might see each other in a different light.
I spent a week in Paris when I was 13, and I had hot chocolate for breakfast with a croissant every day. Living with a French family, that's the way they live. They have hot chocolate for breakfast and a croissant.
So like one of my cousins is half French, so you know, if I want any information on how French people live, I can
Yeah, we
ask
can have a
her.
look. Yeah, have a
Yeah,
look at it.
go over to the chateau.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we will leave it there.
Yeah,
For anyone who has enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thanks a million. If you
click
didn't
the
like it,
button below.
if you didn't like it, please let us know. We are new to this. It's a brand new thing. We literally only thought of it the last few days, and we've been
Yeah,
racking our brains about what we were going to talk about. So if you have any topics you want us to discuss, in the comments below, the more you comment, the more you share, the more we get out there, and the more we can talk about. So
yeah.
thanks a million for listening, and that's how it
Always
is.
keep your comments respectful. You know, even if you're
Yeah,
giving us some
yeah.
criticism, you know,
It's constructive
try to
criticism.
be. Yeah.
Constructive, yeah.
Because
Anyway,
we will punch you in the throat if we virtually if we catch you
ah,
doing anything naughty. Wah, wah, we will.
anyway, yeah.
Don't
So,
worry. Yeah.
and remember,
Any degrading comments we will be posting in our next video. This guy. No. Yeah. No. We love
so
you guys.
we'll leave it there, and that's how it is.
And that's
Love it.
how it is. And that's
Excellent,
how it is.
excellent.